past 2 weeks, or 1 week, I guess.
Holy shit, Kevin!
Wow! What?
You get this only nowhere else but you, Kevin and Zach. Kevin, I'm not gonna lie.
Now we're look at this. A carved penguin. There it is. There it is.
Oh no. Are the O's fine? Are the Orioles fine, Kevin?
It's so bad. I think I'm so embarrassed.
Okay. The Orioles stole it. That game was stolen. It was stolen from them, then they stole it right back.
What?
Oh my
Wait, what's going on? What is happening?
What is going? Was it a diving play? He bobbled the ball.
What is happening? Are they challenging it? No. Other wall. No.
Kevin, I don't know what you saw, how much you saw. I've been chugging champagne. Sure, I spilled a lot, but what a game, man.
He will be the legendary
Birdfish!
How about that?
Birdfish fans, stand up! We did it!
What can I say? What can I say?
All right, welcome in to Kevin and Zach React. I'm one of your hosts, Kevin Ostraker. I got Zach Bollinger to my right. First ever in person Kevin and Zach React. Wish it was under better circumstances. Orioles lose 11-3 to the Tampa Bay Rays. It was
Tried
rough,
to come back.
yeah, rough from the start and rough through the end, unless your name was Tragic Trump, who ended up being a big gamer for the Orioles in this game. But yeah, just really, tale of two games, right, Zach? I mean, the Orioles go down 6-0 on Friday, and they're able to come back and put up 22. And today, they go down again, but the Rays don't let them get back in this one.
Yeah, I mean, it's at the end of the day, this is one of those games you fell back, 6-0 multiple times over the past 2 days. You came back yesterday. It's hard to come back from 8-0 down. We last week, but it's hard to come back. And this team, after having an incredible night last night, I think everyone kind of saw.
Yeah.
This regression was kind of on its way. Like you said, Jackson Howell did 3 hits, and then, you had Kobe Mayo get the single, Ramon with the 2-run homer late in the game, and then Chadwick Trump gets his solo shot as well. But besides that, nothing really here from the Orioles side. Just a disappointing game after yesterday, especially.
Yeah, I mean, the big story is going to be Zach Eflin, and we'll certainly get to that. But, credit to Zach Littell going out there, giving the Rays 7 innings when they really needed him to. They needed nothing more than a long Littell start, and that's what they got. Their bullpen got decimated yesterday, and I think anything less than honestly 6 was going to be a real problem for them, considering how many guys they pitched and honestly how bad the bullpen was. They had to keep bringing guys in, so that we got it was Cavallari, right? Who came in and gave up So again, it's literally a tale of two games where the Rays get their position player in and the Orioles rake, and then Luis Vasquez comes in, and the Rays do not rake against Luis Vasquez, the double play machine. Now calling him
I mean, 3 innings pitched on the season for Luis Vasquez, which is so disappointing that Luis Vasquez.
I know.
Although his pitching, he's been up for 2 weeks. Disappointing in that aspect, but hey, Luis Vasquez, double play machine, 3 innings, 3 double plays. I mean, if you're going to let him on, you might as well get him out in the process. So good on him. He's probably your most reliable reliever for some reason.
Might want to consider a position change for Vasquez. Maybe
he must got a sinker or cutter. He's got something going on.
He got Ephus going. Like,
I mean, it's something. I mean, Kevin, it's ridiculous. But hey, We talked about it. Orioles disappointing. It feels like every time they take one big step forward, they take a big step back or two. You win yesterday, 22. You felt great. Then you just completely show up today within the first thing. I mean, let's call it what it is. Back tightness. We'll see what happens there. But Zach Eflin, it was over before the Orioles even got up to the plate. It's hard to respond and bounce back 2 straight games like that. But overall, you just got to flush it. You got to go on to the next game. You can have an opportunity to win the series tomorrow. You can do that. Then you just got to win the series in Texas. So just keep on winning series. I know it's not what people want to hear, but that's got to be the goal. Continue to win series, and if you do over a few months, you can find yourself at least closer to being.
I mean, that's the problem, though, Zach. I mean, you're right. Where you go out there and you're in a position to win the series now. You couldn't take advantage tonight. You have to win the series. But you mentioned, if you do that over the course of time, in a few months, you'll be close. But they're really, really running out of time here. Like, and even when you talk about the deadline, right? That's a big decision point for a lot of these teams. Of like, okay, are we gonna actually go for this, or is this just the retooling year, which it should have never been in the first place? But it's a different conversation with how the injuries have happened, how this roster has shaped up over the offseason. We've talked about that all the time. But I just think now it's a matter of like, deadline is in about a month. It's almost a month to the day.
Yeah.
If they, let's just say 10 series, say it, you can get back to around 500, which I'd be fine with, but that's going to require you to win every single series for the next 10 series, unless you're able to rack off maybe a 16 win streak, unless in that case you give yourself more wiggle room. But I mean, with all the injuries piling up the way that they are, do you consider just even if they get to 5 games under, 6 games under by the time the deadline comes around, are you still selling guys, or do you think that they have enough in them for a
No, I mean, I think we've talked about it. They've got to sell it in some capacity. I don't know if it's everyone. I don't know where you go from, but at this point, you can't have a season where you don't sell right now. I'm talking about just finding value. You don't have to sell off Eflin, Sagano, Morton, Seti, Endo, Hearn, and now Sunland, and Dominguez and Soto, and then you've getting rid of 7 guys. Well, shit, it doesn't have to be that, but I think if there's guys that you can get value for, I think Dominguez, I think Soto, I think Morton are guys people are talking enough about that could get big returns, bigger returns than people think. So besides that, after just kind of the way that this team has been on, and I don't really necessarily trust the pitching right now, I don't think that they can, say, hey, and if you're going to find value, it's got to be value for long term as well. Like you can't make any 1-year rental deals if you're the Orioles. That just can't, unless you're giving up back end prospects, if it's a money dump, whatever it is, you cannot sit there and give up anything of meaning for a 1-year rental right
No. I mean, I agree. It's like in some way, shape, or form, because they're not going to bring everybody back. That's the big thing. And again, I'm tired of talking about, oh wow, the Orioles have all these first round picks. Man, they let Tony walk and they let Corbin walk, and I mean, I'm tired of that. Like, if you're not going to bring a guy back and you understand that it's probably not going to happen, if you're not in a competitive place, or at least you're not nearly to where you need to be, then there's no point. Because for some teams, there is a point to keep a guy on an expiring deal because he can help you win this year.
Yeah.
You can keep him like that. That's what the process was with keeping Tony, right? He was helping them win games. And so you're not going to trade a guy that's helping you win games. But when you're not winning, and you also know because it's Sagano, it's Eflin, Eflin has tanked his value anyway on the trade market. But like regardless, who knows if he's even going to be available to trade after this.
And if it's an injury of any sort and he's,
Yeah.
not 100%, you do have to think there and, sit there and think, okay, is this worth, if you're another team, why would they give up anything of value for a hurt Eflin and hope that he, turns out to be like that? It's not gonna work like that right now, especially if he's got any sort of back tightness. That's something people are staying away from as a whole, especially if you're looking at pitchers right now. And if you're trying to get an impactful pitcher, I don't know if you're going to be giving up anything of value for a guy who hasn't been looking the greatest in his last outings and is dealing with back tightness.
Right, and I think the thing with where the Orioles are, and we've talked about this so often, is the fact that guys like O'Hearn and Steady, like they can help you next season, like they can, but who else are you going to move off of? And if you do move off of those guys that can help you next season, well, don't just trade them for a bunch of high A guys. A bunch of 20-year-olds like that.
If you're going to trade guys, they has to be for major league ready,
or at least someone who is about to, who's knocking on the door.
Somebody who you can see next year and can hopefully help you. But I agree, Kevin. You cannot go into any sort of trade deadline looking at guys that can help you in 4 years. We're not at the spot where maybe let's go look at their low way, their developmental league, and see who we can grab to help us in 4 years. You need guys that can help in this window. You have a window for probably 3 more years after this, and that's 26, 27, 28. After that, Gunnar, Adley, Jackson, Westberg, Cowser, they all become free agents. So, as much as we want to talk about, you have, this window, it can close and it can shut fast. You have 3 more years after this to truly get, out to truly win a World Series, or it's going to have to be a different, outcome or a different mindset. The team could look different. This core will not look the exact same in 3 years.
And it is like, who is going to be on the team? Like, they're not going to. I mean, they're going to do their best, but we know who the agent for a lot of these guys are, and so
Scott Boras.
For Gunnar, Jackson as well, correct?
Yeah, I believe Jackson is also Scott Boras.
Is Adley Boras too?
No, Adley.
Okay, that's what I didn't think.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if there's a guy that you're gonna try to get, it's gonna be Adley.
But I mean, that's the thing, right? Where you see like Christian Campbell thing. Is he still in AAA right now? They sent him back. So. But again, it's those types like Jackson Merrill, for example, right? Like those types of deals where it's become more commonplace to do that. But with Jackson, it's a no-brainer. But Boras is not going to go for anything like it. He knows the value, and we all know how Scott Boras operates. So I mean, out of the 3, and I mean, it's a conversation for a much later date about who stays and who goes. But when you're talking about this season, I mean, I've said it and I'll stick by it. Like, if they can get to within 2 games below 500 by the deadline, I'm fine with them selling. And maybe if a guy has super low value and you can move off a couple of low prospects for a guy, not anybody impactful, for maybe a back end starter, back end reliever, like I'm fine with that. But in reality, like I don't think that you bring back both O'Hearn and Cedric and at least one of them walks.
Yeah, one of them walks and one of them shall get an opportunity to walk.
Yeah, same thing with Sagano and Eflin. And again, who knows what the values of those guys look like? Because we can even go back to the game of like having those opportunities. Peace out, man. Appreciate you.
Awesome. Appreciate everyone.
Yeah, I know, right?
I know we're here for the Ryan Rupkin Show, but we are live at Charlestown, West Virginia. It's been a fantastic day. As you can see, that's just going to be Kevin, and this one is going to be.
Yeah, keep it. Yeah, this is my show now. This is my show now.
But these stuff behind us, we have an example.
Woo! Good save. Good save.
But got a lot going on here.
Yeah, we got the rubber ducks going on. Actually, Zach Bollinger signed a rubber duck.
Yeah, it's back there. I put him,
Yeah, safekeeping. It's going to
So
it's going to a Bengals fan. Because
yeah. And Kevin, we are. It's going to be a shorter show. We are probably going to only go for about another 5-6 minutes because we do have to.
Yeah,
because
we have to put the whole setup away.
We have to put everything down.
Yeah.
But we did not want to miss a show.
Yeah, we're going for all 162.
So
we mean it.
We mean it. So we want to come on and at least talk for a few minutes. Not going to be able to call in today, unfortunately, just with time constraint and the fact that we got to make this puppy. It's the lights. I'm going to be honest with everyone. If the lights weren't taking so damn long to set up and take back,
I feel confident. I feel confident enough in getting them down, setting them up. So the problem with these lights, you're setting them up, and there's one way that the thing has to go to plug it in, and it inverts on itself. So you have it the right way, but if you don't put enough force down on it, the cover will inverse on itself. So you cannot properly put the light in if it's inverse. We have to physically like force this thing down and then just bend these rods to like their maximum capacity to get them in. And the first time we tried to set these things up last time we were here, Ryan and I literally spent like 30 minutes trying to, because we didn't know that it was inversing on itself first. So we were just sitting there for like 30 minutes trying to get these things. This time around, it was better. Like, look, with each experience, it gets better. So, man, taking down the will be an adventure.
This is gonna be.
No, I'm worried about my own setup. And I'm looking at the same brand plates, not the exact same.
I was gonna
brand.
say I would not.
I just need like a studio desk or something.
I was gonna say I just feel like a ring light.
No, apparently ring light. Like the network doesn't want me to do a ring light because it is associated with something they don't want to be associated. So I don't know.
What is it associated with? TikTok?
Essentially, yeah. They don't want it to look like a TikTok slash more explicit version
Oh
of
my
TikTok. That's what I said. Hey, I'll get a ring light, and they said, "Oh, well, there's
They
actually."
said no to that.
Yeah. They didn't say no. They recommended against it, and I said, "You know what? Probably smart."
I mean, yeah, I get.
But the network has helped me out actually a lot with getting stuff for it, in terms of, like recommendations. It's been nice. Yeah, I'm excited to have some of my stuff finish in there. But there's just so many little things you think you don't know you need, or you think you know you need.
Mm-hmm. Like what? Well, it's like okay, so obviously like you have the mic, you have the camera set up, but like the stuff. That's what you're talking about.
Yeah,
I like how we're just
like,
not talking about the game.
well, what is there to talk about? In British Raven, yeah. So I got the Elgato, the boom arm, the low one, because it has magnets in it that can it hides the wires like it's a wire channel, and then it holds the mic. Some of these boom arms, like the weight of the mic have it sync. This one you can actually, I could physically move it up and it would not sink down. So I got Elgato. I got a Sony camera. I'm gonna get a Shure microphone. Getting the Rode, although the smaller version. I don't need all. Yeah, I don't need all the channels. I just need two. I need one. And then I think a Manfrotto tripod. Manfrotto, apparently they're nice tripods. So yeah. And then I have something special that I'm cooking up for the background. I'm excited to show everybody what my background is going to be.
I'm so scared now that you said that.
It's going to be exciting. But all right, actually talking about the game for a second, because that's what we're on here to do. One of the things that has plagued this team, at least recently, is early runs. This pitching staff giving up early first, second inning runs. And look, I give a lot of credit for Sagano for going 5 yesterday. Mm-hmm. But it's been a theme for him. It's been a theme for Declan. It's been a theme for a lot of these guys where even if they settle down, I mean, it was like a year-long thing too, where first or second inning gives them a lot of trouble. Then second, third time through the order, they settle down, but it puts them behind the 8 ball. And yeah, I mean, look, we saw the Orioles come back and put up 22 runs in the game last night. But that is the outlier. That is usually not what happens. Games like today, usually what happens when you put yourself behind the 8 ball and the opposing pitchers can settle into a groove like Littell did today. I mean, it was hard. Look, the home run by Aranda Went is almost at the warehouse.
No, I think it was someone correct me in the comments. I believe it was the longest home run ever.
Really?
Yeah, I believe so.
That is wild. I mean, it was smacked. But like, this is what I'm talking about. Where like, you cannot continuously put yourself behind the 8 ball like this when your offense is inconsistent and the bullpen has been a little more inconsistent than we're used to them being this season. Like, we knew the pitching staff was going to be tough, and I think it's hard to see. And this was I guess, extenuating circumstance because F the first inning, but it's not really. I mean, this is not the first time this has happened. You can't just chalk up. Oh, it was a bad game.
And I mean, Tono gave up 6, and then obviously the back issue for Eflin gave up 6 in the second, and then still went 5 to give this team a chance to win. And we talked about how much that saved the bullpen. And I mean, they needed it today because they're going to need someone to step up tomorrow. Yeah. Thank you, Luis Vasquez.
Is it Kramer tomorrow?
Kramer tomorrow.
Every time they need a win. Every time they need a win. Without glove work.
Without
Like
question.
clockwork.
Never doubt Dean Kramer when they need big game Dean, when they need a win, he's going to get the
Best
job
pitcher
done.
in baseball when you're moving away.
For real. Kevin, anything else? I know we got to get out of here.
Yeah, we're on a time limit here. So, but we wanted to come on and like, even though the game was rough, we wanted to at least get some words in. So, actually, do you want to do an in-person call real quick?
Do we have an in-person
Yeah,
call?
he's literally right there.
Oh,
Joey. Want to do an in-person call in?
Do we have time?
Yeah, why not?
Joey.
Why not?
Yeah, we're good, Joey. Over here.
So we'll keep our call-in streak alive. Here, I'll go.
Joey, we got to get out of here in a few minutes. We're doing a live call-in real fast just so we can keep our streak alive before we get out of here to close this all up. So here we go, baby. We got an in-person call-in.
Appreciate the shout out. Appreciate calling me over.
Yeah, Joey, how we feeling?
I mean, it is what it is, right? Like, you know, Eflin, Mr. Reliable, the guy who was supposed to be a constant for this team, can't quite get it done today, and it seems like that's been the norm for him lately.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah, past 3 games for sure.
you get down early, your offense can't produce like it did the night before. What else can you say, guys?
It's just
What else can you
disappointing.
say that can't be said about the season already?
Yeah.
Like,
Felt like another one of those games.
injuries are piling up again. You're already down Rutschman. You're already down Westberg. You know, it's demoralizing. It's demoralizing for the group as a whole. But who can step up? Like, Carlson's coming back up.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Yeah, I would assume once Westberg is back, I mean, they're going to have to keep Carlson down there for a little bit. But once.
Isn't that such a surprise shot, like, to the
Yeah.
arm where maybe the juice guy was in the lineup?
Yeah, you know, and I think, you know, missing him, obviously, it's a tough situation with Westberg because, you know, you sit there, you have to bring an infielder in so that you can kind of replace him. But obviously, Dylan Carlson the past few months has been one of your, like you said, one of those juice guys, you know, the fighter in the lineup. So it does suck in those moments, you know, where you're like, shit. Like, you know, you have to make that tough decision.
Like, what would – and it's just – they need Adley back.
Yeah.
It's been down on him. That'll Adley is the pillar that allows the pitching staff, that allows the team as a whole to make winning baseball plays, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's your field gem.
He was starting to find it before he got in.
Yeah, you know, it's the ground ball, it's getting the ball through, but it's also just he calls a good game. Already solid at calling this game, and you know, love Gary's bat. Gary is a producer, man. Like, not that to take away from Gary Sanchez, but it's like there are levels to catching position.
I agree.
You need your pillars.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, are you looking towards a deadline at all at this point? Like, what's kind of your mindset with like the deadline? Are you looking towards the deadline at this point?
So,
or are you still?
Look, I want to keep O'Hearn. I'm a big Ryan O'Hearn
Okay,
fan.
yeah.
So whatever they're gonna trade for Ryan O'Hearn, I don't know if it's gonna like whatever value you bring back. O'Hearn is gonna produce more. You know what I mean? It'll be like you're not gonna get a positive outcome for trading O'Hearn. However, Mullen, these are two guys I love rooting for.
Yeah.
Okay. Two guys that I'm not saying I want to leave the team, but if you're gonna squeeze blood out of a stone, these are two guys you have to move on from. And if they were to trade Cedric Mullins for some. Like if they were to trade Cedric Mullins and O'Hearn to the Phillies for pitching depth, like you know, or any of those guys they have, like that would be the only justification. You know what I mean? You cannot.
Yeah, you would have to get I think you can't lose both of those guys, especially just with the way we've seen this lineup be up and down already this season. And then from there, I mean, if you lose two of your most, you know, consistent leaders in the team, especially with O'Hearn, obviously he hasn't been producing as much recently, but you know, he still is one of your best hitters. So I think losing him in the lineup would hurt you long term as well as in the short term.
And then when it comes to the pitching staff, it's like, okay, they trade Pagano. It's like, but do you really want to? You know what I mean? Like,
and I don't even know what his value is at this point. Like,
I mean, it's at an all-time high. I mean, honestly, after the last start, you know, yesterday, like, you know, whatever, like Mulligan, right? You hope it's a Mulligan. But, that's a rookie of the year right there.
Yeah,
come on.
that's right. Man.
Sagano could, if he comes through.
Technically,
He can make a case. He can make a case.
He's going to need to improve from his last few starts for sure. But yeah, I mean, the way he started the season, hopefully he's not running out of gas right now. I know that's a big concern for people, but hope for his sake and for the Orioles' sake that he can put something together and get back on track.
Well, I mean, just enough to keep him in this wild card race.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're scraping him along for the wild card.
Yeah,
Tomorrow's
they're
a
just
new day.
hovering, right? It's like 9 under, 11 under, 10
I mean,
under.
You guys talked about on the show with Brad and the AL's weak. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just in
It
general,
is.
I mean,
There's not like a
there's
clear,
just inconsistency. It's not that it's weak. It's just that it fluctuates.
Yeah.
It fluctuates.
There's a lot more parity in it this year. Yeah. It feels like than other years, where I think that's what makes it a lot more frustrating. Like if they were just better, they would have had a clear shot.
Yeah, it's just, if the stars aligned, you know what I mean. If everything was ideal, but honestly, I still think they have it in them to fall for a spot.
We've seen what they're capable of. I mean, we see what the offense. We saw it last night with the offense.
It's just like how can they get this pitching in? How can they get this pitching in order?
I know. And some of it they should have done in the offseason and they didn't do it, and now they kind of.
Do you guys think it's more on the pitching or the offense?
Both. Offense has been disgusting.
I'm more surprised about the offense.
Pitching, you knew they were going to suck. Offense sucks, and you're like, damn, why do you suck? Like pitching, you look at the injuries, and you're like, I get why they suck when you lose your top 3 guys.
Yeah.
But batting, offensively, you're like, you have injuries here and there, but Gunnar, Adley, those guys, when they're not producing the way they could, then you're like, what the hell is going on?
It's no different than football, dude. It's like Gunnar coming into the season hurt, or like guy Kevin DeAndre Hopkins coming into the season hurt last year.
See, there you go.
Well, we'll see.
You see?
But it does affect these athletes.
Yeah, it does. It does, and it can throw timing off. Guys have to get back in the swing of things.
Oh, Gunnar's got no power anymore, or whatever. It's like no, I mean it's just the process broke down.
Yeah. And it truly, sports are such a momentum-based thing, both from a physical performance perspective, but also mental. And, for all these guys, I think a lot of people just assume that once someone is back from an injury, they're 100% ready to go like that. Just snap their fingers and they're back to who they are. Sometimes that's the case, but other times it doesn't always work that way, where they do need some time to get to a groove. And I'm not talking Gunnar specifically. I'm just talking in general.
I think it just depends on who had the process of the because Gunnar got hurt in the spring training, and then his process was all thrown off, and it might have just thrown things off just enough to where the guy still goes. He had the triple, the home run, almost double away from the cycle, right? He can still swing the bat, but it just doesn't have that extra oomph that he.
Yeah. It's frustrating. It's frustrating. It's the word I keep coming back to.
Word of the season. The word of the season.
Man. Well, I don't know. I guess got to win the series tomorrow. Who's on the bump for Tampa? Do we know?
Taj Bradley.
Oh, my fantasy team not been doing great.
Yeah, no, he's not.
And
the Orioles put up the 8-0 game where they that's who started. So maybe they can get
yeah. I remember.
Who's on the bump for the years?
Dean Kramer. Dean Kramer.
Well,
when they need a win, it's Dean.
I still want to describe it as Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and I love that. Dean. I love that. Dean. Perfect.
So we'll see if the Orioles can get the series win tomorrow. Dean Kramer versus Taj Bradley on the bump. A little shorter episode here as we got to get ready.
You want to get to the super chats and then
let's get to the super chats. Kyle saying,
right.
hope the Rays win to take the AL. Joey, appreciate you as always. Kyle also said, I like Gunnar, Jackson over Gunnar. It'll be interesting to see what happened over the next. Yeah, we just gotta go with these.
Yeah.
And then gotta be hard to come here and talk again. Yeah, they gotta fight back. They gotta call 12 games back again. Need to find ways to get it done. And then Walter, appreciate you benching Mayo today. Was laughable. The Orioles are 100% the only organization that would DH Gary Sanchez. Feel it bad for Mayo. Gary's hot. I understand why they did, but I agree. I would like.
I gotta find a way to get him in the lineup.
It's tough.
Back to 12 under.
Tragic. Well, we'll be back tomorrow. That's what's beautiful about baseball. So there's another game tomorrow.
Got to play the games.
And we'll be back here after the Orioles take on the Rays. Rubber match. And so we'll see what happens there. And then we'll be right back here for another edition of Kevin and Zach React Maverick Handley.
Oh. Wow. I think specific teams that we could do here. Wow. First ever in person, Kevin Zach React, and I'm folding on the first. That's just rude. All right.
Oh, people are waiting.
Wow. Jackson Ballmeister. Let's just go
There we
Rays
go.
again.
There
All
we
right.
go.